Polis makes history. Spending a boatload of his own money and winning the election was the easy part. Now it's time to govern Colorado after pledging a lot of things to a lot of people. Look closely at Polis' swearing in and you will see more history in the making. The man he beat looks like he's in witness protection now, but Walker Stapleton has a message of unity. Colorado State's football coach says he's not worthy of a raise. And solving the mystery of 4 identical buildings at the side of a busy road. That's next. Jared Polis made a lot of promises. Now Governor Polis begins 4 years of trying to deliver on them. One part of the job he already has down pat, even just 6 hours in. And that's dodging on specifics when asked by reporters like our politics guy, Marshall Zellinger. Marshall outlasted even the inaugural podium at the Capitol today. Last man out there. So, Marshall, after the inauguration, Governor Polis holds his first news conference just without much news.
You know, he talks about being bold, and his transition website was boldly forward. Well, 90 minutes after finishing his speech on the West Steps here, he held a news conference. I'd say that's bold, except he wants to keep some of the mystery because he still has a State of the State address on Thursday. That's when his policy issues will come out more specifically. First, some of those policy issues did come up on his speech in the inauguration.
To work building an education system that provides every child with the opportunity to unlock a bright future. Building a healthcare system that ensures families don't have to choose between losing their homes and losing their healthcare or their life.
What you didn't hear in that Colorado for All inauguration speech was the words fully funded preschool and kindergarten or the words free universal health care. So during the news conference that happened afterwards, we asked about specifics, about executive orders he would sign or those policies he mentioned during the campaign trail.
We're talking about the different ways that we can work both with the legislature and with our executive authority to put our state on the path to 100% renewable energy. And of course, we'll be excited to provide some more specifics about tax reform and what that might look like and how Colorado families can pay less in taxes to have a little bit more to enjoy the Colorado they love.
And I assume people in Colorado would be excited to hear about paying less in taxes, too. That first thing he said about an executive order toward 100% renewable energy, Kyle, you'll remember during the debate we asked him how is he going to do that. He said, well, it's not a mandate, it's a suggestion. So I'm interested to see what executive order suggests something to the energy companies.
All right. And away we go on an action-packed day for politics guy Marshall Zellinger. Hey, thank you, Marshall. Polis did not run on a platform of making history. He just did it, becoming America's first openly gay governor and Colorado's first Jewish governor. Today he took the oath, sworn in over a siddur, a Jewish prayer book, the same one that Colorado's new Democratic Attorney General used for his oath.
As of course, I'm a member of the Jewish faith, so I did swear in on the same siddur that Phil Weiser was sworn in on as well.
Secretary of State Jenna Griswold was sworn in on a Haftorah, essentially the Jewish Bible. She also requested that an old copy of the state constitution be included as well. History Colorado provided that one from their 1876 collection. We're getting some feedback on Governor Polis's inauguration from a viewer named Tom. Tom wrote, just wondering how many Colorado voters like my 92-year-old aunt didn't know Polis was gay and was rather shocked when she found out and would have changed her vote. We have received a few notes like that. So I'll just say, Tom, what a cool opportunity. What a cool opportunity for your aunt to reflect on the fact that she judged a man by his ideas and not by who he loves. Because we all have our biases, the explicit ones that we know about and the implicit ones that are buried inside us. And you know, it's not every day that we have the opportunity to see how we would act if we could set aside a bias. Your aunt got that shot, and she liked Mr. Polis enough to vote for him. Now, I get it. It's tough to change the way that you've thought about something for years or for decades, or in your aunt's case, for nearly a century. But what an amazing opportunity she has to be around at the age of 92 and to have the perfect chance to do one of the most noble things you can ever do in your life at any age: change your mind. Democrats now hold every constitutional office in Colorado, and they control the entire legislature. Based on my research, that last happened for a brief period, a couple months in 1949, and Democrats haven't held that kind of control in our state for a sustained period, years, since the 1930s. Might make some Republicans want to go into witness protection, but I promise you that is not where Polis's Republican opponent Walker Stapleton has been since he's been growing a beard since Election Day. And it's not why Stapleton was not at the inauguration today. He was needed serving our state in another capacity.
That's correct. I have been summoned as a juror. So while you were taking the oath of office, I will be reading outdated People and Newsweek magazines at the Arapahoe Justice Center. Best of luck. And I hope I have a chance to congratulate you in person.
Have you ever seen a happier looking dude who lost an election? He's a happy guy. The first bill introduced by the state Senate each session tends to signal what the Senate majority thinks is a major issue facing our state. This year, Senate Bill 1 is about opioids. Our Anusha Roy looks at the pros and cons of the treatment method being discussed.
I first used opiates when I was 15. My journey kind of started by using my mother's leftover medications. She had chronic pain issues. You know, I'm college educated. I come from a great family. It started as experimentation. It started as an avenue for social acceptance.
Scott Kindle turned to heroin at 23 and over time started crossing lines he kept telling himself he wouldn't.
Took my dad's checkbook.
When a judge gave him a chance to get help, he took it.
And then each one of those is, 2 felony charges.
And opted for medication-assisted treatment. It's what Senate Bill 1 is hoping to expand in Colorado, saying there aren't enough treatment options and some people have to travel too far to get help.
Would expand the pilot that was in Pueblo and Routt counties 2 years ago from 2 counties to 12 counties.
The treatment can include what's considered safer alternative opioid medication to help with withdrawals and another medication to help with cravings afterwards, along with counseling through the whole process.
It's a special sect of doctors that are open and willing to do that kind of work. And yeah, that's where the stigma really does kind of shine through.
If that stigma fades, training can cost as much as $1,000. And while there are programs to help out with that, some pay out of pocket. The bill is hoping to help out with that.
Well, we could train more nurse practitioners and PAs, and they could also contribute to the increased treatment capacity.
Dr. Valak, a drug addiction expert, said while this kind of treatment is not perfect, he says it has been effective because these medications can be better controlled with fewer dangerous side effects. Kindle agrees, saying it was not perfect for him, but it did help him get to a better place.
I'm a homeowner, I've got a family, I've got a wife, I've got a beautiful 2-year-old son.
All right, so because some of that treatment options involves opioids, these doctors and these nurses also need to get a DEA waiver before prescribing that. Now, this bill, which is sponsored by the Democratic Senate President and is focusing on rural Colorado, would use $5 million in marijuana tax dollars to help not only with expanding these programs, but also education, because stigma, like we talked about, is a huge hurdle here.
People always want to know where the pot taxes are going. It's pretty clear between Senate Bill 1 and the big debate over supervised heroin injection sites that we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the drug epidemic.
Exactly, and what they've been doing is just step by step. They know that one bill is not going to solve this problem, so they're trying to take it apart piece by piece with each piece of legislation.
Sometimes the controversial bills come at the beginning of the session, sometimes they get rammed through at the end. We'll watch. All right, thank you, Anusha. Hey, may I make a recommendation? Refer you to something that did not come from us, but I think is worth seeing. Former state representative Rob Wittwer tweeted that he is leaving the Republican Party. He's becoming an unaffiliated voter. He said it's nothing against the Republican Party in particular. He's just opting out of the party system altogether. Wittwer wrote that Americans' current desire to fight with each other over politics at all cost is a mutual suicide pact. It is a thoughtful line of thought from a gentleman who has had a big impact on Colorado politics. And you can read the full thread on the Next Twitter account. Federal contractor for the FAA got in touch with us here on Next, offering a personal view of the partial government shutdown, now day 18. Wondered whether we had considered that we've been adding uncertainty and stress onto an already uncertain and stressful time for the people who are supposed to keep us safe in the air.
We're short still of controllers, and now we're going to have a gap. The longer we wait, the longer we have to wait until the funding is reestablished, that gap is going to get bigger and bigger. My name's Tom Delgado. I'm a retired air traffic controller and a contractor with the Federal Aviation Administration. I teach at the Air Traffic Control Academy in Oklahoma City. There was approximately 200 students there at the time of the shutdown, and they all had to go home. Oh, the amount of money that's being lost is huge. The students per diem has to start all over again. That's $35 to $45 a student for 3 to 4 months. The big impact is going to be on the input of new controllers into the system. We tend to burn people out, and that's not good for the aviation environment. Controllers don't like uncertainty, and when you start talking about them not being paid on time, or the possibility that there's not going to be new people coming up that will help spread the workload out, that's going to cause even more stress.
You want to know the statistic that got my attention? Delgado says even before all this uncertainty of the shutdown, he says the Air Traffic Control Academy typically loses between 30 to 60% of its students because they find the work to be so challenging. CSU football coach Mike Bobo agrees with you that he does not deserve a raise after this disaster of a season. So he turned down his scheduled $100,000 salary increase for next year. Now, don't get me wrong, nobody is going hungry in the Bobo house. He will still make a cool $1.8 million this upcoming season. But you know, I salute the coach for saying, in a real way, that the Rams' 3-9 season was not deserving of reward. You can dismiss this as a meaningless gesture because Coach Bobo still makes a ton of money, or you can toss it away because college players don't get paid to play. But coaching is about leadership. It's about setting an example. And when the leader of the CSU Rams leaves cash on the table saying that he is responsible for their poor performance, that says something to me.
One result of the government shutdown is outdoor disorientation. Coloradans keep trying to clean up state parks. 4 mysterious buildings on the side of C-470. You asked about them. Turns out being mysterious is part of their purpose. That's next.
Hi there, I'm meteorologist Kathy Sabin, and it is a beautiful night in downtown Denver. How great not to have that nasty wind today. And even though it was kind of a cool day, our temperature at 50 and it's above the average of 44, it just felt better this afternoon without the wind, which has now been just really diminished. We have northeast winds to 8 at DIA, currently 34 degrees, and yeah, tonight will be cold. The jet stream is north of us for now, ahead of a big, strong California storm that will bring some moisture to us the middle part of the week. Between now and then, though, high pressure southwest winds, temperatures will soar close to 60 degrees over the next couple of days. There's a small chance for a little light snow here late Thursday into Friday morning. No accumulation, but just know there's a chance of some beneficial moisture here in Denver and maybe in the northern mountains. But again, it won't be one that impacts your travel plans. We need it. Fair skies in 22 tonight. Tomorrow we've got high clouds coming in, a high of 55, close to 60 on Thursday, and that 20 to 30% chance of snow on Friday. Heading into the weekend, which looks terrific, and so does Bodie's View, Kyle, in Broomfield.
Yes, indeed. Hey, Colorado Parks and Wildlife is super grateful for your kind offers to help clean up the parks, but it is the national parks, not the state parks, that are closed and piling up with trash during this government shutdown. Parks workers say there is so much confusion about which parks are closed right now, they made a flow chart to help you answer the question, am I in a state park? First clue. Do the word state park appear on the sign? You're laughing, but if everybody got this, they would not need the flow chart. There are small amounts of federal dollars that go into our state parks, but the vast majority of their funding comes from the lottery, some state grants, user fees, and taxes. They're okay.
Our next question came from a handful of you. Curious about the 4 identical buildings that can be seen off C-470 between Kipling and Ken Carroll. Brian, PT, Lana were among those who basically said, hey, next. What are they? It took a few calls to a few different agencies, but the Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Department had the answer for us. These are disguised cell phone towers. They serve different service providers. It's taken a bit of time to get you that answer, perhaps because the 4 mystery buildings are now 3. One was demolished as a cell carrier consolidated with a neighbor.
Low-income families with children in Denver can now apply for a property tax or rent refund. This is for people who own or rent their homes. Denver Human Services already had this program in place for older residents, for people with disabilities. The new change approved by City Council expands it to families with children. It also enlarges the pot from $3 million to $5.5 million. So truth be told, they've actually had trouble finding enough people to apply. They know the need is out there.
My dream is that we have an overwhelming number of people apply, and certainly we will run out of money this year, and then next year maybe we can get more money for the program.
Program launches on May 1st. It's a first-come, first-served thing. The requirements are not all set yet. The city just approved this. Denver Human Services is working on the application. But for families that are having a tough time making it, like Jim Acosta's family, single mother of 2, this could be a big break.
What worries me is I don't have enough money to save for whatever reason, or even for an emergency. So that's kind of what concerns me. Not having the ability to save, because I'm just going paycheck by paycheck, basically.
And we're talking about real money here. The average refund in this program is between $400 and $500.
Each new governor comes in like a cannonball.
That's a little bit loud, isn't it? My goodness.
We get a history lesson from the sergeant firing up the salute at the Capitol. And another creative Coloradan proves you can balance a love of luxury with a love of the outdoors. That's next.
All right, if I'm ever elected governor, one of the first things I'm going to ask about is the cannon. Is there just the one cannon? Where are we allowed to shoot the cannon? Because the governor directs the Colorado National Guard, and the Guard rolls out the cannon for big events like today's inauguration. They've done that since it was rebuilt 10 years ago. And we got to talk to the guy who lights the fuse.
Today we're doing the inauguration for Governor Polis. We rendered cannon salute honors to commemorate the inauguration. Are you ready? I'm First Sergeant Samuel Van Zant with the Colorado Army National Guard, and we're at the state capitol of Colorado. We've rendered cannon salute for the last 3 governors. It's a 19, 18, 75 millimeter howitzer. It'll shoot a 75 millimeter round with a 1-pound charge. It's a blank, and it's fired manually, 1 round at a time, but there's no projectile. A lot of people, they ask a lot of questions. They walk up and they're like, are you going to fire this cannon? Why are you firing it? How loud is it? Well, the firing of the cannon not only renders honors, but it's also a symbol of freedom. Well, I feel proud and honored to be allowed to render honors with a historical piece of military equipment.
First Sergeant Samuel Van Zant says the cannon can be requested by Colorado state leaders for special events. Or when I'm governor, every Friday at 5 o'clock. It'll be awesome. When we return, a sign of real dedication to the Colorado outdoors. The most Colorado thing we saw today is one man's true dedication to biking. And this guy actually peeped his own sitch for us. James and Centennial with the bike taken apart in the back of the Porsche for a drive and then a ride at the Cherry Creek Reservoir. That's the only way it fits. Come on, let's be honest. What is the most Colorado thing you've seen today? Email next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag #HeyNext. Lots of feedback about our commentary tonight. TD Shields says, my husband and I were just talking last night about how wonderful it was to have Governor Jared Polis's love life be such a non-issue in the campaign so that the election was about the issues. Proud of Colorado for that. And Mel Barassa writes in to say, what an amazing opportunity, echoing my words to that man who said his 92-year-old aunt was shocked to learn that our new governor is gay and would have changed her vote and not supported him if she knew. Mel writes, your response to a viewer's email about his aunt, thank you. Words took my breath away and brought a tear to my eye. I'm entirely serious, Mel. We should all be so fortunate in life to have such a perfect opportunity to change our mind about something. See you next time.